Hello guys, back again for another update. It's been a while since my last update because I've been working on developing the game, writing the story, solving some very complicated programming issues. Uh, also, I would like to dedicate this video to a guy named Charles D. Rhodes. He's the guy who built this incredibly large and incredibly complex ship model. Charles, I never met him in person, but he has been a real inspiration to me nonetheless. Charles passed away at the end of 2017. May God rest his soul. He was a brother in Christ, so I know one day I'll see him again in the kingdom. So let me show you what I'm working on. This is the ship model. I linked Charles' his website in the description of the video. He went by an alias called Jedi Charles, which he has a website that showcases all of the modeling work he did. Charles was a real inspiration because he had muscular dystrophy and he was confined to a wheelchair, and yet he was able to do something incredibly amazing, which is build this ship model. He spent 4 years working on building this ship, confined to a wheelchair, and I'm not sure if he was even able to use his hands to do it. But it really is amazing what Charles was able to do, considering his circumstances. And, you know, you can go to the website and download the model if you have the SketchUp modeling program and check it out for yourself. And, you know, Charles it just goes to show that no matter what your circumstances in life, you can still accomplish amazing things if you set your heart to doing something. And for Charles, it was building these models. It's what he loved doing. You can see just the amount of love and the time and dedication that he put into building these ship models. Now, on to what I've been working on. I have been working on getting the ship model prepped and prepared for the game engine. It takes a lot of time and work to put this ship together to make it function in the game engine with a high performance. He spent 4 years building this model, and I'm going to spend probably 150 to 200 hours just prepping it and getting it ready for the game engine and for the game that I'm building, Galactic Armada. So now I'm going to show you around. I do have some of the interior components animated. I have the frame rate unlocked. You can see the frame rate counter in the bottom right to show you the current performance of the build. You may see a little screen tearing because I don't have VSync on. I'm also still working on the space environment and the galaxy. This is a full procedural galaxy. If you haven't seen some of my previous videos where I'm working on building a procedural galaxy with up to 500 to 1,000 star systems for the game. This ship is actually flying through space and warping around to different stars, making it probably, when it's completed, will be the largest, if not one of the largest flying levels in a video game, besides perhaps the ship in Squadron 42 of Star Citizen. Maybe the only comparable system compared to what I'm doing. So now I'll show you around the ship the parts that I have done. Now keep in mind, I haven't done any material work. I'm just working on getting the models in here and all the modeling components for the different rooms. Later on, once I get the full interior of the ship done, I'll come back on another pass and I'll do texturing and all the material work for the surface shaders. Also, in my next update video, I'll have this elevator completely functioning. It is a physical elevator. Charles went to great lengths to make the interior components of this ship actually functionable, meaning I can completely animate them and make them completely physically functional on the ship. And that just goes to show Charles's just amazing talent that he had, you know, and it greatly saddens me that he's not alive to see his creation actually flying through space. And, you know, someone else like me taking the time, the immense amount of time to make that possible. And, you know, I was really, really hoping he would make it to see this day. But, you know, like I said, one day we both believe in Jesus, so one day maybe I'll be able to tell him about it in the kingdom. Now, I do have an interior LOD system and mapping system working. These rooms are loading and deloading as doors open and close, and it's completely seamless. As you can see, it's reflected in the high FPS frame rate performance. If this entire interior was loaded without a LOD system, you'd get some pretty horrible performance. Here is the landing bay. I do have some ships in here. Like I said, I haven't done any material work, so they're just plain models right out of SketchUp. I've also been spending some time learning how to do character models for non-player characters, NPCs. On this ship, it's going to be a couple hundred. I've explored a lot of programs on the Unity Asset Store, like Morph 3D, and there's another big one, and I didn't like any of them because they're very dependent on software, and they can break easily with Unity updates. So I've been looking at external programs for doing character modeling, such as Make Human, DAZ Studio, and Character Creator 3. And this is a DAZ Studio model. I'm not going to be using DAZ Studio. For the reason is you have to buy a lot of add-ons, and you end up spending a lot of money to make it usable for game development. So I've decided to go ahead and buy the program Character Creator 3, and I'm going to be using that to make character models and clothing and uniforms and everything for the non-player characters that are going to be on board the ship. And I'm also going to be designing a custom LOD system for raising and lowering the polygons as you approach and leave NPC characters. Because there's going to be a lot of NPC characters on the ship, it's important that I do the optimization correctly for them, otherwise it'll bog down the CPU of the computer. Now, eventually you will be able to fly the ships right out of this docking bay in the game, and you'll be able to engage in space combat to defend your fleet of starships. I am going to be building a fleet combat simulator where you command a fleet of spaceships against an alien force. Alright guys, thank you for watching. Have a blessed day. and updates will be coming a lot sooner, a lot quicker. I know it's been a month since my last update, but like I said, I'm doing the work of basically 10 people, and I've had to work through some extremely complicated design issues to make this game work. The game that I'm trying to build work in the Unity game engine, which is not exactly easy to say the least. Thank you for watching, guys, and go ahead and, if you want to, go ahead and check out Charles's work. He's no longer alive, so you can't talk to him, unfortunately, but you know, he can still be an inspiration. He is an inspiration. If you understand modeling and game development, and you check out his Facebook, and you see his circumstance and what he was able to do, you know, you'll see that it just was an inspiration. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Bye.